All right, are we on?
You're on.
Oh my goodness. Hello, welcome. Welcome to Tsunami Books. Can you hear that sound? Yes, that's construction. That is the building of America. Yes. Welcome. This is, let's see, Bookstore Stories episode. Valerie, what
I don't remember. I forgot to look. 3 maybe?
3? We're going to say episode 4.
Okay.
This is episode 4. We will be doing thousands of these. I have several things today. The first thing we're going to do is experiment with being timely. Try and keep this down to 10 minutes. But we have a lot to talk about today. It's very exciting around this little building, and it's going to grow more exciting. Going to give a little short business update on this year of pandemic because that's what we have. I think that'll be very interesting. We're going to talk about May coming up. We have some very special things occurring in May. And by the way, I'm just going to begin by pronouncing Valerie's name.
Oh.
Yeah, Valerie Isan Uzgic. Yes.
You say it better than me.
Yes. Valerie is right here, of course. The two of us, we're doing this together. And very nice. I like that. And how the other day I saw her husband Ali in the parking lot, and I wanted to get the pronunciation, and I called out to him just as they were kissing goodbye. It was so it was a little embarrassing, but it was fine. And he gave me the pronunciation, O-Z-G-E-N-C, Özgenç, soft umlaut. And the C has a little thing at the bottom in Turkish. A lot of those Middle Eastern languages have little doodahs here and there. I remember Hebrew had a lot of them, and it changes things. And the thing at the bottom of the C turns it into a CH. More important than any of that is what it means. Özgenç means eternal youth. Oh my God. And Ali gave the biggest smile after saying that. I'm like, nice, all right.
You know what Isan means? Isan means gift of kindness.
Oh my God.
Isn't that awesome?
Gee. I think we need to rework some names here in America. I'm very proud or pleased to have the last name of Landfield. Enunciating that carefully.
It's an apt name for a tree planter.
A great name. I have planted 2 million trees, by the way, those of you who haven't heard it 1,000 times. This last year, oh, by the way, there's construction going on out in the street right now. They've got giant rigs, they're ripping up cement, they're scraping, they're pouring. We're having new lights put into the parking lot so that we could have evening events into the future. We're very excited. But you may hear some drilling, you may hear some scraping of metal. We've turned off all our building sounds so that we can accentuate the construction zone that we are in the midst of. And you're welcome to come join us here too. In fact, we really are feeling a little lonely through this construction. We'd be happy to have a few extra people drop on by. Plenty of access. There was a lot of access through the pandemic. We were open all but 4 days of the whole thing. Well, we were closed on Sundays. At one point I had hay fever to begin the pandemic, so I got tested and had to close down. Back in those days, it was 4 days to get your test completed. It was negative, so we all went to work. We lost one worker, but we had a phenomenal crew. Valerie and Steve, our 2 full-timers. Emily, who we'll talk about more soon, who's been here about 5 years. And Bob, we had Bob and myself, and we just went for it. We got creative. If the phone wasn't ringing, we weren't selling books. that was rather sad because we are a browser's bookstore. That's what we like. Of course, we had no events. We worked on our internet sales in several different ways. They were good. Our curbside service was exceptional and still is, I will say, if you don't feel comfortable. Long before the pandemic, we offered curbside service to some of our retired folk who loved to drive but couldn't get out of their cars. And they would come here to our side parking lot and just stare at the garden for a half hour or so. We would bring them books. We're happy to do that at any time for anybody. But we have been open since June. We keep our doors open. We keep our windows open. We're very thankful that South Eugene has a clean clientele, a very safety-conscious, pandemic-conscious clientele. We've learned a lot from them, and we had a lot of skills which we brought to the bookstore. It's been a very safe, good place for people to shop. And I'm quite pleased to say that April 2020 to April 2021 is about 20% up from the previous year. So we have grown through the pandemic, and this is with no events. This is at closing at 7. It's going to be hard to be open till 10 o'clock, you know, when it gets time for events. But we're very thankful. People who are reading more than ever, and they're supporting local. It's just very emotional. This first time in 24 years where I wasn't constantly stressed about where the month's rent was coming from. And that has changed a lot of things. And we're here to serve, and we just want to keep it going. April is always our slowest month. It doesn't matter what happens. It's tax month. People are paying off their Christmas bills. It's particularly slow this week because of the construction on the street. Again, plenty of access through 26th or even on Willamette, or we call it the Oregon Trail. And good-looking crew that's working hard out there. If you like watching construction workers, you'll enjoy Wildish's crew out there because they're going for it. They're trying to push it ahead. And it has not affected us at all up until this week. This construction's been going on about 5-6 weeks, and we have been unaffected. Most of the businesses are doing okay, the ones that are still open post-pandemic. But do come shop in the neighborhood if you get the chance. Saturdays and Sundays, no construction workers. Come on. We're going to start getting active throughout the summer on Saturdays and Sundays. We're going to start using our parking lot more. We have a couple things happening in May. May we're calling Tree Month, for lack of a better term. One of our workers, Emily Poole, she was contracted to do the illustrations for a book of trees of the Pacific Northwest, and she's done, I believe it's 90? I think it's 90 different trees that she had to find variety of in Lane County, as a matter of fact, to do the line drawing and then watercolor. Put out by a prestigious Northwest press, and it will be arriving sometime in May, so we will have that, and that's like step number 1. All the images, her watercolor images, are going to be framed, most of them framed, and on display here all month. We're going to feature every tree book we could possibly find. I'd like to point this little piece of work out. This was something that Emily did. Emily painted this of the Washington lily, which is what comes back first after a fire, a wildland fire. And she did this as a fundraiser for the fire that we had. Remember that fire also that went hand in hand with the pandemic in Lane County? Somebody bought this, somebody bought the prints, all the money went to help victims of the fire. We have a little fundraiser going on in May I just wanted to mention here because I'm using way too much time, but one of my favorite organization in Lane County is Mackenzie River Trust. And it's phenomenal. They buy a lot of land to preserve it forever. They are great advocates of the natural world, and they have a wonderful staff. Joe Mall is the executive director, kind of a young buck, you know, well, he might be 50, but a very strong, healthy, dynamic young person, and a great staff. 10% of all sales at Tsunami Books in the month of May are going to the Mackenzie River Trust.